Okay, no, I don't actually believe in the title of this video, but hear me out because I think I can actually make some compelling points for why being a streamer and a content creator is not as easy as everyone thinks it is. And I think there's 3 differences between a common 9 to 5 and being a streamer and a content creator that I want to touch on. But first, if you're thinking, who the hell is this guy to tell me that streaming and content creation is hard at all? He's probably never even worked a 9 to 5 in his entire life. Well, actually, yes, I have. I used to be a foundry worker, and a foundry is a place that melts iron down, and they make semi-castings and car rotors and things like that. I used to be an ice truck delivery driver, commonly mistaken for an ice worker. I was not an ice worker. I was an ice cube truck delivery person. And then the third job that I had was a teacher. Now, the one that I'm going to focus on is the foundry job. In my foundry job, I used to work at the local foundry back in Wisconsin, and at 2 p.m. I would clock in, and at 2 p.m. I would clock out. And the entire day, I was essentially lifting, some days, like 40-pound castings onto a conveyor belt all day. And I would lift one from this side, pick it up, place it on the conveyor belt, lift one from this side, pick it up, place it on the conveyor belt. And those things were 40 pounds. Genuinely, no joke, 40 pounds. And this was before, in the same place, they passed regulations that you had to use a mechanical hoist. So I was just using my body the entire time. But I would just be dripping sweat by the time my shift was over because the plant was not outdoors, like it was in a factory, but it was open to the outdoors. And in the summer, it'd be like 90 degrees in there. And we'd have molten iron flowing through the castings within 20 feet of us. So it was super hot. And not only that, the castings that the iron would pour into was made out of this black sand type texture. And that black sand would be flying through the air, just floating through the air because it would inevitably break off. And so you'd be breathing that in all day. And when I got done with my shift, not only would I just be drenched in sweat, but I'd go home and I'd blow my nose. And I'm sure you guys really want to hear this. But I'd go home and I'd blow my nose and I'd look into the paper towel, the Kleenex, whatever I had, and it would just be the entire thing is just covered in black sludge, essentially. And it was gross. And you had to pick it out of your ears and stuff. And when you would shower, your hair and your body, you just see black dust coming off of you. But when I clocked out of that place and went home, I didn't have to think about that job until I went back the next day at 2 p.m. I could completely not even think about work at all. And I would have no guilt about not thinking about work. I'd have no pressure to think about work. I'd have no overlying feeling of me that I could keep working and keep making more money if I wanted to right now. Whereas me being a content creator right now and being a streamer, there's always, it's like a rain cloud over my head that's just pouring down rain as a reminder of, oh, hey, Trevor, by the way, you could be doing something. You could keep editing videos. You could keep finding more clips. You could keep brainstorming ideas for video ideas you want to do. Why are you taking time and looking at your phone? Why are you watching a show when you could be doing that? You know what I mean? That feeling is always looming over me. And it's not that I miss my foundry job, but I certainly miss having set hours in which after I clocked out of my shift, I never even wanted, I never had to, I never wanted to, I never felt like I had to keep thinking about work, ever. Whereas with this job, I do. The second thing is that, I'm going to use the foundry example. I could use my ice cube truck delivery driver example as well. But the second example that I'm going to give is when I was working as a foundry worker, I knew exactly how much money I was going to be making. I knew that if I worked a roughly 50-hour week, I'd be making anywhere from $650 to $700 for that given week. If I worked 50 hours a week. If I clocked up more overtime, if I worked 62 hours, which I believe was the maximum that I could work at that place, then I'd make anywhere from $800 to $900 for that week. And it was very reliable. It was very consistent. It was very safe. There was never even any curveballs. If anything, it was maybe off by $50 to $75 because we did have some incentives for being very super productive. And some weeks we were very productive and some weeks we weren't. But the most fluctuations that I saw in my checks was $50 to $75. And that was really nice. And if I wanted to make more money, I would just work more. And if I didn't really care about making more money for that week, I would just work less, which, if I can remember correctly, I basically tried to max out my hours every possible chance I could. I don't think I ever wanted to make less. But that's not the point. The point is with this job, I never know how much fucking money I'm going to make for that month ever. It's so unbelievably variable that I never know. I literally never know how much money I'm going to make for the month. And it's because everything that I do falls prey to the algorithms that I work for. I don't necessarily work for myself. I work for the YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram algorithm, although Instagram pays nothing. So I basically work for the YouTube and TikTok algorithms. And I've learned to design my content in such a way that it is appealing to the algorithm and that it is appealing to the audiences that watch my content. But I still don't if you go look at my @TrevorTreeClips channel, I still don't totally know how many views I'm going to get per month because views equal money. And so I keep using this video as an example, but it's a really good example. I made a short from a game called The Looker. And I think at this point, it probably has like 30 million views-ish, 30 million views. And I think across YouTube and TikTok, because again, Instagram pays nothing, it made at least over $2,000. Bare minimum over $2,000. And I probably spent 2 to 3 hours on that video. Probably let's be conservative and say 3. So I made like $700 an hour as I was making that video. But I had no clue. Like I never have any idea how much money I'm making per hour, if you think of it like that, until the month is already over. You know what I mean? Until the month is over and I see my Google AdSense page and I know how much money I'm going to be making, I have no clue how much money my effort is going to get me. I have no clue. Now, somebody could come back and say, for example, Trevor, if you got sponsorships, if you reached out to brands and you try to get brand deals, they pay flat fees. You could make a much more consistent, reliable income by doing that. And the answer is yes, you are correct, but those aren't necessarily easy to get. And a lot of the ones that reach out to me, I would say 95% of them are scams, like 95%. And then the 5%, I just don't know. I don't really feel like I want to do that. So at least for right now, I basically am letting the algorithm do what it needs to do. And I'm making whatever money that it's allocating for me. Whatever the algorithm decides that I should earn, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm making. And so there is some stressors that come from that. Not ever knowing exactly how much money you're going to make can be difficult. If I had to compare it to something, it's kind of like sales almost, where you could do some really great work, or you can get kind of lucky, once in a while and have some great months. And then the very next month, if you're not as lucky or if you're not doing as great of work, then you don't make as much. And it's just it's not a fun thing to watch your income go down, even though you feel like you're working the exact same. You know what I mean? So you could put in the exact same hours and make more money or less money. You just never know. And so that kind of weighs on you as well. And the last thing, I have an editor for this channel that edits almost every video. Right now, we are releasing 2 clips per day, and I'm doing both of those. 1 long form video on this channel per day, and he's taking care of that most of the time. Sometimes I just literally have no clue what to send him. So for example, in this case, I'm making this video right now, and I'm going to make very minimal edits and upload it. But the point is for each video that he makes for me, and each clip that he makes for me, because it's on this channel, it's making no money. So I have a flat fee that I am paying him per video for his time and his expertise, let's say, and it's returning me $0. So it's a negative 100% investment per video. Does that make sense? Which I don't know. I don't know if there's any economics majors out there, but that's not a great return on your investment. You know what I mean? At least for right now. The hope is that eventually it will pay off. And I'm not going to lie, if you look at my most recent videos, some of them are doing pretty well, and it's literally just me talking to the camera. And I feel really happy about that, which is cool. But we're not quite there yet. And I will say, even if I were uploading these videos to a channel that was already monetized, there are still plenty of videos that I'm not even breaking even on. In fact, the majority of the videos that I pay for an editor to edit, I don't even break even on. And then there are a handful that do exceptionally well and kind of carry the rest of them. Now, when I only had my editor editing clips for my @TrevorTreeClips channel, which is in the description, by the way, I was making some profit on those shorts. But the main purpose of them was to gain exposure, right? It's why you have people like Clavicular and why you have people like Aiden Ross and XQC and whoever else paying for all these wild clip deals on Kick. Like they're paying out hundreds of thousands of dollars to random clippers around the entire world to just incentivize people to release as many clips as possible so that it has as high a chance as possible to hit the algorithm at least one time. And that's essentially what I'm doing, right? Except for I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend. I have some money to spend with the hopes that there will be more videos in the algorithm, and therefore it's more likely that one of them blows up and so on and so forth. But nowadays, all of my money is just being burned for right now, let's say, right? In hopes that it eventually pays off. And that's not something that happens with a normal job, you know what I mean? If you go clock in at McDonald's, you don't bring someone along with you and have them take care of the register while you just go take care of the drive-through. You know what I mean? That doesn't exist. Like you don't hire someone to freelance to do part of your job while you go take care of the other stuff. You know what I mean? That doesn't happen. And so, just kind of like for right now, I should say, having that money essentially be burned and floating away into wherever for now in hopes that it will come back and start making money later is not something that's easy to cope with sometimes, you know what I mean? Sometimes if I'm laying in bed right here, falling asleep, and I'm like, oh my God, I just paid this much money for this week and literally got $0 back. It's not like I'm not being like irresponsible. It's nothing that I can't handle, but just having that looming over my head is not something that's fun. So do I think that streaming and content creation is harder than working a 9-to-5? No. Does that mean that it's all sunshine and rainbows and everything's great and it's amazing? Also, no. But let me tell you what I do love. I do love waking up and doing my routine, which is, sifting through my VODs, finding funny moments, or sifting through my VODs and finding a moment and being like, oh, if I edit that in this way, I think it'll do really well. So it's really cool because it like scratches a creativity itch that I think I've always had my whole life, but I get to do that every single day. I get to scratch that same creativity itch every single day, and I think it's super cool. It's also really cool using the same video that I used earlier as an example. It's also really cool knowing that like at any moment, if I do my best with editing and I have a little bit of luck, I could have a video literally pay for 4 months of rent off one video. You know what I mean? Off 2 to 3 hours of work. I think that's so cool. Like, it's so cool to just think to myself that at any moment I could basically be given a lottery ticket and just kind of set myself up for the next few months from one video. I think that's super cool. So that's really nice. But I hope this was at least somewhat insightful into the life of what it's like to be a small content creator and a small streamer. But yeah, that's about all I got. So thanks for watching. Make sure to unsubscribe if you liked the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, see you later. Bye.